Everyone, and welcome at our dedicated accounting day. And we'll start the day by explaining all major improvements in Odoo Accounting 18. But before we start, feel free to scan our QR code. You can type all of your questions during the presentation in the pad, and we'll take all the time that is necessary to answer them by the end of the presentation. So before we start with the live demonstration, it's important for us to explain Odoo's vision and priorities when we develop in Odoo Accounting. Because the most important part for us is that we have as many users as possible using our software. So localizations, as well as user experience and onboarding remain our key priorities. Okay. And that's not different this year, because the team has managed to add more than 600 new localization-related tasks. And that's really huge. It's going to impact the usage of Odoo Accounting worldwide more than any other feature we're going to release today. So let's have a look at the map. We added 10 brand new countries. Most of them are in Africa, but also Uruguay, Cyprus, Malta, and China are now new to the list. But of course, working on localizations is a continuous effort in order to remain compatible with local compliance. So most of these improvements are improvements to 74 already existing countries. But most of all, we're now very proud we have 69 fully localized countries in Odoo Accounting. And all of them contain a separate chart of account, taxes and fiscal positions, but also a local balance sheet, profit and loss, and tax reports. So now that we talked about localizations, let's dive into our first category of brand new accounting features. And the first category will be all about invoicing. Because more and more, invoicing will become important in the years to come, because more and more countries will introduce the obligation to switch to invoicing. And that means that all of these entrepreneurs and business owners will need to adopt a management system in order to get digitalized. So we feel that it's our mission to make sure that this new regulation will be embraced by them instead of yet being another administrative burden. So let's get started. First of all, we have some new invoicing layouts. It was already a while ago, we have not added them, so we have now 3 more in order to suit even better our customer demands. But also to the way that we manage invoices. Last year, we already introduced that we're an official PEPL access point. But this year, we added some great enhancements to it. Our users have the option now to use our access point only for sending and or receiving purposes. So that means that you can use the software only as a standalone invoicing software or use it as a full accounting system. And of course, the switch to invoicing will make one step closer to real-time accounting. And that means that users might start overseeing mistakes. So in Odoo 18, we have a great new feature which makes sure that AI will help our users avoid making mistakes. If we can find some irregularities in those bills, we will point it directly out on the invoice itself, and you have the possibility to accept, ignore, or even deny the future alerts for this supplier in the future. But on the same time, we want to make sure that accounting will remain as automated as possible. So that's why now we have a great new feature, which is the auto post. For these recurring bills, where you don't need to intervene manually anymore, Odoo will propose to switch the supplier in auto post, which means that if you upload all the upcoming bills of this supplier, you will not need to intervene anymore. You will only intervene on the ones that request your manual additions. So speaking about automation, also accountants working with purchase orders might struggle from time to time in order to make sure to reconcile the correct purchase orders with bills for 3-way matching purposes. Well, like today, if we can find the perfect match, we will match them out of the blue. But if not, you now get a brand new reconciliation screen, which eases the reconciliation between open purchase order lines and bills. And as we will show you, you can also directly adapt from the reconciliation screen amounts and quantities if necessary to upload the purchase order lines behind. And last but not least, getting paid But even more important, getting paid on time is crucial for any business. So that's why in Odoo 18, we completely revamped the way we manage follow-up reminders. They are now entirely part of the contact form. And if you need to send statements, customer statements, on demand to your customers, or on request from their auditors, for example, you can now send them in one single click on the fly from any partner report. Enough said, Robin. I suggest that we dive into the live demonstration. And maybe you can start by creating a new invoice to see what's new over there.
All right, let's go for it. So to do so, I will deep dive into my accounting application and I will create a brand new customer invoice. When I choose my customer and I choose my product, you directly see that the product field has been merged with the description field. So that allows any user a quicker input.
Is it me, or wasn't the catalog option only available on sale orders before?
No, you're right. It was only available on sales order, but our users loved it that much that we added it on the invoices as well. So let me show you how easy it is to create a brand new invoice. So I will sell the 200 hours success pack. They use point of sale, so I add an IoT box, a kiosk, and I will add 3 printers as well. When I go back onto my invoice, you see that everything is added automatically.
All right. So what about multi-currencies? I have the feeling that from time to time I struggle when I need to play with these different currencies. How can I easily see the currency rate that is applied?
Well, yeah, you're right. The currency rates have always been available in Odoo, but since Odoo 18, it is possible to now have the currency rate applied here. So when you change from one currency to another, it's automatically adapting as well. So useful.
Cool. Thanks for that. Well, the invoice is nearly ready to be sent, I guess. Can we have a look at the brand new invoice layout?
Yeah. I will create my customer invoice by clicking on confirm. And when I click on the brand new print and send button, well, you directly see that now I have different layouts available here. But I have something more to show you. Here, the QR code, when you activate that, it makes it possible for your customer, when he receives your invoice, to directly pay with the banking app, so that at any time, well, you receive your money. And if you ask me, my favorite one is definitely the bubble.
I totally agree with you. Bubble is my favorite as well. But the invoice is ready to be sent now. How can I easily find out all the invoices that have not been sent yet?
Okay, well, I'll go into my list of customer invoices here, and as in Odoo 18, we wanted to help our users to better view what is not sent yet. Well, we have a small new filter here to filter out what has not been sent, and you can add it on your list view as well, so that any user at any time can know the status of the invoice sending.
Crucial for any business, right? Indeed. So now you have an overview of all invoices that have not been sent yet. How can I easily send them in batch?
Well, you take all of them, you click on print and send, and thanks to the preferred sending method that you have put on your customer, well, Odoo is informing you what is the preferred sending method. Here in this case, I have email and PayPal, but you could have letter, for example, as well.
Preset sending method. That's something new, I think. Where can we configure that part?
Yeah, well, I will print and send what I already have here. And you see that Odoo is sending it in the background in order to have a reloading screen that is not impacting my usage of Odoo. And when I go into my customer here, and I go into the settings, you see that here I have my standard sending method that I can set in. And if you have an e-invoice format, that's where you can set it as well.
Seems way more simplified than before.
Exactly.
So now that we're on the contact form, I can see you have the follow-up for payments over there. Can you explain us what's different? How does it work?
Yeah, well, now in Odoo 18, everything is centralized on my customer form. So as before, you have the different follow-ups, and you can put it on automatic or manual. But from here on, you can send it directly from your customer. When you send and print, all the communication will be visible directly in the chatter.
All centralized on the contact form itself. I really like it. So what about the customer statements, Robin?
Well, yeah, indeed, you might have noticed, but here we have a direct link with the customer statement. And from here on, I can just click on send, and it will send my whole statement to my customer. But I can do the same for purchase, or I can send it to an auditor, for example.
All right. So speaking about sending methods. I already explained that we made some enhancements to the way we send invoices from PayPal. Can you show us where the user can now define to use it only as a sending or and receiving option?
Yeah. To do so, I will go into the configuration of my accounting and look up for the PayPal configuration. As you can see here, I can send all my invoices, but I cannot receive my bills.
But why was that so important?
Well, for the simple reason that you could have several PayPal access points for the sending part, but only one for the receiving part. And we wanted to give the flexibility to our users to use the invoicing system instead of using the full accounting package.
Makes totally sense, of course. So what about that receiving part? I must admit, I really want to see the auto post.
Oh yeah. Well, to show you that, let's go into my dashboard, and here I will take some bills that I received. I take all of them and I just drag and drop it in my vendor bill, and that's where the magic happens. Boom. You see that the first one is automatically posted thanks to the auto post feature. Now, how does it work? I'll go to the next one. And here in this case, you see that the artificial intelligence has recognized everything. I don't have to change anything, so I will just confirm my bill. By clicking on confirm, Odoo is popping up and wants and asks me if I want to activate the auto validation. Of course, I want to activate that, and that means that from now on, when I will receive a supplier bill from that supplier, with exactly the same information, well, Odoo will automatically post it.
It's definitely my favorite new feature in Odoo 18. So what about the two remaining ones?
Yeah, well, this one is one that I know is related to a purchase order for sure. But as you can see here, well, it hasn't been linked to my PO automatically. But in Odoo 18, we have a brand new feature that is the purchase matching feature here. From here on, I have a link with all my purchase orders related to that supplier. And what you have in gray here are my bill lines. And here I have my PO lines. So I can just match it from here. Now you can see that the total is not 100% corresponding because, well, basically the unit price is a bit different. So what I will do is I accept the difference, and from this view, from the reconciliation view, I can directly adapt the unit price on my purchase order in order to match it at 100%. When I click on match, and I go back onto my bill, my purchase order is added here, and I can just confirm.
Really a powerful feature, right? So there is a third one, but before we dive into the third one, can you show us how accountants can use multiple screens to manage their accounting?
Okay, yeah. So you might have noticed here, I have a small new icon that I have it here on the chatter as well. And when I click on it, you'll see that it automatically opens my bill on another screen. So that it's so useful for our accountants to have on one side the bill, and on the other side, my Odoo that opened here. Now, let me show you what happens when I go to the next one. You see that my bill is adapting automatically as well. So I can just switch from one bill to another and always have a view on one screen, what is my bill, and the Odoo on the other screen. Now you see as well here that Odoo is warning me about an unusual difference based on the historical data. The expected amount is different. As you can see here, normally it's 484, and here it's a bit different. But here in this case, I know to what it's related, and I accept that difference. So I will confirm my bill. And here you see that Odoo is asking me if I want to ignore the future alerts. But of course, that algorithm is so useful to avoid any mistake that I will keep it like that, and I won't check this one. Just confirm it, and now everything will still be posted automatically.
I think it's definitely useful, so I would have kept it as well. So that means we're at the end of our first category, I think. Can we go back to the slides and dive into the next category? Because the next one will be all about bank and payments. During the last years, we already added some great new enhancements in order to manage all of your payments directly within Odoo. But this year, we added a few more of them. So first of all, you can now set a predefined payment method on all of your contacts. And that gives you some great flexibility. Because for these bills that you might have paid by Visa, for example, or that you have an agreement with your supplier for SEPA direct debit, you can easily filter them out so that you can only pay the ones that need your manual interaction. But that's not all. We also completely revamped the way we manage installments. If you have some specific payment terms with your suppliers, you can pay in different installments, or you have cash discounts, well, you can directly apply them now on a single payment or in batch, so that you will only pay the amount that is necessary, that is the next amount due, or you can switch to total. And also, all of your customers can benefit from it because the same flexibility you will have in the portal view as well. So now that we talked about payments, let's talk about the bank reconciliation screen. It might happen from time to time that you receive payments or that you executed some payments without supporting documents. Well, in Odoo 18, directly from the bank reconciliation itself, you can create, upon the fly, a bill or an invoice based upon a bank transaction in order to easily reconcile later on. But that's not all. Speaking about bank reconciliation, in the meantime, we already have 36,000 banks our users can sync with in order to have in real time all of their bank transactions. But most of them are not available within that technology if you have a credit card provider. So that's why in Odoo 18, we enlarge the scope of our OCR, and you can now use it in order to scan your credit card transactions as well. Just upload your Visa statement, and we'll transform it in all related credit card transactions. And if you link it with some reconciliation models, they will be posted out of the fly. So what's next? There is one more remaining monthly payment accountants are struggling with a lot: your monthly loan reimbursement. And not only in order to reconcile the monthly repayment, but also during the closing process, you need to make sure to recognize correctly long and short-term amounts. Well, we have a brand new loan management feature that will cover all of that part. First of all, we will create all of the entries, but also the reconciliation itself can be easily recomputed. And I propose that you show that, Robin. But before we dive into the loans management, can you start by having an overview of everything that is not paid yet?
Yeah, of course. So we have two options to see what is not paid yet. Just like before, we can go through our age payable here. And here we can click anywhere to see what are the payments that need to be done at that date. The other option is going back onto my dashboard and just click on the To Pay button.
Are all your credit notes included in that view as well?
No, but not by default, because we have a filter on our bills. When I remove this one, will you see that now I have all my credit notes that can be included in a batch payment, for example.
All right, so now we have an overview of all our bills and credit notes that are not paid yet. How can I easily make sure that I only pay the ones that need my manual intervention? Not the ones that I might have paid by Visa, for example, or that I have an agreement with the supplier that it's automatically with a SEPA direct debit.
Okay. Well, in Odoo 18, it is now possible to define a preferred payment method on your customer and on your supplier. So now we have added a group by payment method that makes it possible for us to have a direct view on what is the preferred payment method. But here in this case, you see that, well, I have a Visa payment, a SEPA direct debit agreement. Those are payments that I don't need to pay manually. So what I did, I created a favorite filter on my manual payments so that I only have my manual payments that need to be paid.
All right, so what about these payments that are left? What if with some of them I agreed some specific payment terms, like paying in different installments or having a cash discount? How can I make sure that I pay the right amount?
Yeah, well, I will show you right away by going here in this supplier, BSC Cleaning. And when I click on my pay button, well, first of all, you see here that I have a payment term, 30% now, and then the balance in 30 days. When I click on pay, you directly see that instead of paying 560 euro, I have to pay 168. And you see in the memo that it's an installment. Now, I can choose to pay the full amount just by clicking here on the full amount button as well.
All right, but that's a single payment. What if I want to pay all of them in batch?
Well, it's exactly the same procedure. Let me go back into my bills. I open the ones I want to pay. I click on pay. And here, by default, the amount that is proposed by Odoo is the amount with the installments or with the cash discount. All right, I create my payment. And you directly see here this one I have paid 168 euro, and it's related to my installment.
Instead of the total amount, yeah? One more thing. Is it me or is there no accounting entry related to the payment anymore?
No, indeed. From Odoo 18, you don't have an accounting entry related to your payments. In order to have a correct payment date on your reportings and on your invoices and bills. But if for legal reasons you need to add it, on your payment method, you can do it like before, adding it on your payment method on the line.
Well, it makes sense. The date of the bank transaction is final, of course. The
Exactly.
payments, you might forgot it. So now that we went through the payments, can we have an overview of the bank reconciliation screen?
Yeah. I'll go back in my dashboard, and you can see that I have two payments to reconcile. And the first one is actually not related to any existing entry, but that happens a lot because when we sell something on e-commerce, the customer pay up front. But that's not a problem because I created a reconciliation model in order to create an invoice from scratch here. I confirm this one, everything seems fine, and I go back into my bank reconciliation. And now the existing entry is added, and I validate this one.
So what about the second one? It seems like it's a payment for your loan reimbursement. Do you still need the regex technology in order to get capital and interest out of there?
No regex anymore. Now we have something way more better. It's the loan management system. So indeed, you're right. This is a loan reimbursement, but I will show you directly what is the impact of it. So I will create my brand new loan. I can either choose to create manually, or I can upload it from my system. Here in this case, I received the loan from my bank. I just upload it here. And just like a regular import, actually, in Odoo, you can, it's not that one.
You have that many loans?
Yeah, I have a lot. But you know, when everything goes well, you have a lot of loans. Oh, well, it directly adapts. I import it, and you see that Odoo adds it directly. When I will confirm it, Odoo will recalculate what are all my payments and will create all my accounting entries, so that at any time when I'm on my loan, I can have a look on it. Well, you see that now they are posted here. And when I deep dive in the first one, you see my monthly repayment linked here.
So I understand the one for the monthly repayment in order to reconcile with the payment, I guess. What's the second one about?
You mean this one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, this one, actually, this one is a really good one. Odoo is doing a long-term reclassification from the long-term to the short-term account, so that at any time when you have a look at your reporting, it's always up to date on a monthly basis.
So no need to do that during the monthly reporting anymore.
No, indeed.
All right. Can you come back to the loan? Because there is another field that I found very interesting. What about that account group?
This one, the asset group. Yeah, well, this one is related to your assets, so that you can link your loans. As you said, I have a lot of loans. You can add your loans to all your assets. And now, by clicking on your related assets, you have a direct link, and you also have the link to your related loan from one to another.
All right. So now you're in the asset. Is it me, or do you have some additional fields in the asset as well?
You mean this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I added we can now add properties on our assets without Studio. So I created some locations, some buildings in order to have more KPIs related to my assets.
Okay. Always interesting to have more KPIs on asset management. So now that we went through all of that, I think we started with the payment. How can I now reconcile it?
Yeah, you're right. Let's go back into my bank because indeed we still have one to reconcile. So as I said, indeed this is my loan reimbursement on my short-term account, and Odoo is proposing it by default. That's thanks to my reconciliation model that I already created, but I will go one step further and I will put it on auto-validate. And I can either choose to wait for the next reconciliation process, or I can run it manually. And by doing so, you see that it's automatically reconciled.
So now you reconcile it. Is it also reconciled with the entries that you created before?
No, yeah, you're right. So we have on a debit side and on a credit side, but I still need to go on my short-term account, and I will click on Auto Reconcile, and click on Reconcile, and everything is now matched together.
Reconciled out of the blue. All right. I think there is one more here that we have not covered yet. What about the OCR on Visa statements?
Oh yeah, that one is a really good one. I'll go back onto my dashboard. I will take my Visa statement that I received from my bank that is here. I go to my credit card type journal and I drag and drop just like I did before. And here, just like the regular OCR, the OCR is working in the backend, trying to find all the information. And when I refresh, well, you directly see that I have all my payments directly linked on my journal.
No need to create these manually anymore. Is it me or are they all posted also?
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, my expenses are actually related to regular expenses that I have. So I created a reconciliation model in order to recognize it so that when I import my Visa statement, OCR it, and it's automatically posted in my accounting.
All right, we're done with category 2. Let's go back to our slides because we have a last one. Third category will be all about reporting. So therefore, let's start with a small yet very powerful feature. In all financial reports, the date selector have been changed in order to easily switch from yearly to monthly to quarterly. It seems to be a small addition, but once you use it, you will understand that it's absolutely appreciated. But that's not all. On any financial report, we now also added financial budget management out of the box. In any financial report, you can create or edit as much budgets as you want. And if you change the period with the period selector that I explained before, it will directly adapt based upon the period that you selected. And if you edit it on the report itself, when you go back, we will recompute it on an annual basis. And for people that need some advanced budgeting, well, thanks to the enhancements that we brought to analytic accounting last year, we now added budget management on top of it. So that basically the possibilities are quite endless because you can set a budget on one or multiple analytic plans. Oh, and we also added now a commitment stage, which means that budget management can be followed up as from the creation of the purchase order itself. But the biggest revolution in there is definitely that we now have a unified chart of account, which gives you a lot of possibilities for consolidation purposes. But I'll explain that later on by you. Let's dive back into the demonstration so that we can showcase how it works. I suggest that we start with the date selector.
Yeah, okay. Well, to do so, I will deep dive into my profit and loss. Here you see that my date selector has been simplified and is way more easy to use because I can switch from my quarter to my month just in one click. And with my arrows, I can change from one period to another. So it's quick and easy.
I really like the date selector, but I can also see the budget is already activated. Can you show us how the budget works?
Yeah, indeed. You might have noticed here I have my budget, and we added it for our accountants to have a clear view on budget on account level. So you can either choose to create a new budget or you choose a budget that was already created. Here in this case, when I add my budget, you directly see that my column with my budget is added next to my actual and is recomputed related to each other.
So now you're working on an annual basis. What if you switch your permits? Because I follow up my budget on a monthly basis.
Yeah, well, I can switch. Maybe I will unfold all so that it's way more visible for everyone. I can switch from year to month easily just by clicking here, and you now have a clear view on everything from one month to another. I will hide lines at 0, so it's way more visible as well. And when I compare from one period to another, you now see that all my months are adapting from yearly to monthly. So it's just dividing it by 12 and then I'm showing it on all my months. Now, something even better is the fact that actually I can change it on the fly because August is not a really good month, but actually October is a really good one because we have a really amazing event. So I will add some figures here. I will remove my comparison in order to show you what is the impact when I go back to my year. You see that now I change it on my month, but when I go back onto my year, everything is recalculated.
All right. So now that we've seen the budgets, let's talk about the content itself. I already explained the unified chart of account. Can you explain us a little bit why that's such a huge refactoring?
Sure. So no better way to talk about the chart of account than deep diving into the chart of account. I'll show you in my revenue accounts that now you have the possibility to either choose your account on one company or on several companies. And if I deep dive into my account, you'll see that now I have a new mapping here, a mapping tab, in which you have the code related to your company. Now, if I switch now, well, if I add now all my European companies, you see that automatically we have all the codes related to those companies.
Is it me or did we simplify the multi-company selector a little bit?
I know you're right. Indeed now it's way more visible. You can search for a company. You can take all your companies. You can reset or confirm. Here we'll reset, so I'm back onto all my Europeans. It's so much better than before. No reloading screen anymore.
All right. So let's go back to the mapping. How does it work?
Well, as you said, we have a unified chart of account. So that means that you have two options. The first one is having an account and creating a mapping on the fly with the corresponding companies that you have here. And that means that when you create the mapping here, when you will switch to that other company, you will directly see the code related in that local gap.
All right. But that's when you create a new account. What if you add, for example, an entity from scratch? I guess there is already a chart of account existing. Is it a similar way?
No, you're right. Indeed, that's the option number 2. Because indeed, when you install a new company, well, you will have probably some accounts in that company. But for that, we have added the merge option. So you take several accounts, like here, you go into the action button, and there you have the merge account.
That seems quite impactful. What if I made some mistakes?
Well, if you made some mistakes, you just go back onto your merge one. Let's say it would be this one. You click on action, and you unmerge.
Okay. So why is it that big change? Huh? Is there any specific reason we did that?
Well, the reason is, let's say, simple consolidation.
Okay.
For consolidation, let's dive into our profit and loss again. Now you see that my figures have been adapted. I will remove my budget. And you see that here I'm connected to all my European countries. And maybe I'll take the profit and loss, the regular one. You see that now I have all my revenues related to my all companies. Before, I would have seen one account related to each company. But because now it is a unified chart of account and because we have created that mapping, well, now it is all consolidated in one and only one account.
So when you say consolidation, what about multi-currency?
Yeah, well, the multi-currency is related to the company in which you are connected. Here in this case, I'm connected to Belgium, so I have the Belgian names, the Belgian accounts, and everything is in euro. Now, if I add the USA and I dive in the USA, you see that all my accounts are adapting to my USA accounts with the other names, and that my currency is now in dollars.
So do they use all the same currency exchange rate?
No, the profit and loss is on an average rate.
Okay.
The equity is on a historical rate, and all the others on the closing rate.
All right. So now that we're talking about consolidation, did we add any enhancements in order, let's say, to extract maybe your intercompany accounts, or if you need to report under IFRS, anything that we did over there?
Yeah, we did. So we changed the journal groups into multi-ledger, so that at any time our users understand crystal clear what they are doing and in which ledger they are working. Here I'm in my local gap, but I can change it to consolidation or to IFRS. And I even have the option to unfold now my journals related to a specific company and to choose for a specific company if I need to.
All right. But here we're on the profit and loss. Is there anywhere else in Odoo that we made some enhancements for these different gaps?
Yeah, actually we did. We added on the deferred revenue and deferred expense report. Small new feature is the fact that we can group by product category or group by product. And we added some columns as well with the not started, before, later, which enables us to recalculate based on the different ledgers that we have in order to have the perfect figures. Now something more. We also have now the possibility to post assets on different ledgers. So that means that when I will post one asset, I can post it on 2 different or even more ledgers. Now I'll show you the impact. Here, when I go onto my depreciation schedule, I'm in USA, I need to be in Belgium. I will unfold everything. You directly see all your assets. Now I can group by asset group, and I can even go through my different ledgers in order to see the impact. So here I'm local gap, but if I click on IFRS, you directly see the differences.
All right. So now that we talked about consolidation, I would like to go back to budget management. We saw the financial budget management, but what if you need some more advanced budget management with analytic accounting included?
Okay. Well, for advanced analytic budget, yeah, we added the analytic budget feature. From now on, in Odoo 18, it is possible to create a budget on different analytic distributions. So as you can see here, I have all my plans. So this is the department, this is the cost center, and this is the financial group asset analytics, sorry, in which you will group all your accounts, for example. You also see that I have created a budgeted amount, and you have the achieved and committed. Now, let me show you the impact directly in the reporting. When I go into my budget report, exactly like last year with the analytic report, you can now create the whole structure that you want. So here I added my departments, now I add my financial group, and I will add my cost center. And when I unfold all, I have a direct view on all my budget with my budgeted amount, my committed and achieved just in one screen.
Seems like the possibilities are indeed endless. So one more thing. You talked about the committed. What's that about?
Well, committed is actually the purchase order that you confirmed related to the analytic distribution that you have on your budget.
All right. Can you show it how it works?
Yeah, sure. So I'll go back into my Odoo. I will create a purchase order here. I have actually, as I said, I have a really nice event coming up. So I have some screens and some televisions to buy, and I need a lot of them. And when I add the quantity, well, you directly see that with the new budget management, you have your lines on that are red because I'm above budget.
All right, so that means that we're nearly at the end, I think, but our automated accounting is nearly closed. Can we go through the closing process before we end up?
Yeah, sure. So indeed, we have to close our third quarter. So to do so, I will go into my log dates, and you now see that you can log on different journal types. You have the first one related to my sales, so I'll log September, related to my purchase, and the log tax return. Of course, the log tax return is just like before. You just post your closing entry, and it will be set automatically. When I save it, it's done. But something more. When I go back on it, I go onto my log dates, I can remove some log dates and create an exception just for me or for everyone for a certain period of time, which is so useful, of course, when I'm doing my closing, I made a mistake and I just want to change my figures and everything is done. And also, if I go back on it, I can also revoke my exception. So it's really useful.
All right, so that means that we're really at the end of our presentation. But before we end up, let's go back to the slides because there is one more very important slide that we needed to show you. Because for us, it's great to come year after year presenting some great new enhancements in Odoo Accounting. But none of them would have been possible without this amazing team of developers and product owners that making sure this version is released every year after year on time. So if you're as excited as us about all these new features and you will applause right after, your applause should be in the first place for them. Thank you very much for joining us and enjoy Odoo Experience.
All right. Thanks for this very nice presentation.
Thanks.
I believe we have some questions from the audience. So let's start because there's quite a lot of them. The first one maybe is, can you handle intercompany transactions? I know we can. And how do you eliminate it automatically? So maybe a reminder would be nice on this.
Yeah. So the way that we manage, like Robin showed, how you can use the consolidated multi-ledger, is that we still work based upon journals. So if you want to extract your intercompany transactions, you need to post them in a dedicated journal. And thanks to the multi-ledger, you can exclude one or multiple journals from one or multiple entities in order to obtain the consolidated results. So that's how it works.
And maybe if I can go further, with a new synchronization of intercompany transaction, it will go automatically in the right purchase journal, so you can set up in the general settings in which journal it should come when you synchronize from one company to another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks for the clarifications. Second question, how to record loans with variable interest rates?
It's a great question. We just explained it right before. So if you have variable interest rates, what we suggest is that you upload your loan every 12 months. So or you import the depreciation schedule every 12 months, or you compute it every 12 months, because of course we cannot compute them up front. So basically do it every 12 months, and it works the same way as with the not variable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Regarding the POs that we can change from the bill, so the PO lines, are there limits or approval in changing them?
Well, it just changed the amount or the quantities. It's a good question. I've not tested it yet, but I believe that if you have an approval workflow on it, well, it will start over again. But to be honest, I have not tested it. It's a good question. Not sure, but I believe that if you change it and you validate it, of course, the purpose is that you validate it again. But not tested yet.
Okay, then I guess the answer will come later.
The answer would just be maybe.
Yeah. All right. So, next question. Could we change the journal entry of the loan after? So, if we change the loan payment during the middle of the period?
Or I think it's your option then.
I think, it's the same. So that means that you need to remove the ones that have not been executed yet and import again, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another question here about the budget now. How to upload monthly budget on a general ledger account?
So I guess it's about the financial budget. There is a menu item, but it's not available if you're not in debug mode. So if you want to import it, you just have to activate the debug mode, and directly from the configuration, you can dive into it and import it in both, as many budgets as you want.
Okay.
The same goes for the analytic one, but that didn't change since before. So I guess it's more about the financial.
Okay. One question, we might have to change our habits about this one, and it disappeared because people change all written at the same time. Yes. With the products and description merge in the invoice view, how will I or people see and change which product I had selected and after modifying description? So if you modify the description when merging the names, how do you know which product was set initially?
Not sure if I understand well the question, but we don't trace changes over there. But the columns have been merged, but you still have two lines. So you see the name of the product and you see the name of the description white under, which is in orange. So you see the difference between both. But if you changed it since after that you set it up, no, we don't trace any changes.
Okay.
But we didn't do it before neither. So it's actually just a merge of existing feature. We didn't trace it before neither.
All right. Could you maybe remind us of the difference between the purchase matching and autocomplete?
Well, actually, it's the same. Unless that with the autocomplete, we will directly take all the lines that are invoiceable. So that means that if, for example, you have an invoice with 2 quantities, but you can invoice 10, but autocomplete will take the 10. While in this case, not, because you can select multiple lines, not all the ones that are invoiceable. So the new reconciliation screen gives way more flexibility because you work on the purchase order lines instead of the total purchase order lines that are invoiceable.
Yeah, indeed. And you can adapt it manually, so it's flexible.
Yeah, and you can adapt, yeah.
Okay. About merging accounts now, is it possible when we have already posted on those accounts?
Well, that's a good question, and I think yes. But I guess that the question after is what with certification, I'm not sure. I have not tested. I think that if there is a legal barrier, we would block, but I'm not sure. I have not tested it yet. Not sure. But in any case, the short answer would be that even if posted, we still can merge. Because that's the purpose, that everything comes on the same account so that it's consolidated. Otherwise, you still get multiple lines, which means that consolidation is not possible. So to add on top of that, that means that for existing accountings that are going to switch to 18, there is some work to merge. Otherwise, nothing will change, and it will remain like today.
Okay. About depreciation models, here, can you generate a depreciation model automatically? In other words, can we link an asset model to a product or an account number?
So the difference here in Odoo 18, and that's what we showed over there, is that on an account, you can now set multiple models. So you can create a model for IFRS purposes, for local GAAP purposes, maybe even for fiscal reasons. So you can create as many models as you want and set them on the account, so that as from the moment that you validate the bill, it creates multiple assets. And in combination with the multi-ledger feature that we've shown, well, if you set all of them in a separated journal, you can extract entities within different ledgers. So that's how it works.
Okay. What happens with automated inventory booking entries when you change the price of the PO when linking the PO lines? I don't know if you want me to repeat this one.
I don't think it's impacting because you need to change on the bill and not on the PO lines. So I think that if you match the...
But I think the question is if you change it in the reconciliation screen on the PO lines, which is possible.
Yeah.
What about...
Is the auto validation then recomputed?
I think then in that case, but again, I haven't tested it, but I think that means that the entry that will follow after will take into consideration the new cost, not before. But again, sorry, not tested it yet. Good question.
Okay. Next question. Editing the budget in the P&L report, is it just for showcasing or does it actually changes the configured budget?
I think, no, it's really changing. So basically, what we do is when we create a financial budget, you set it maybe annually, but behind the scenes, we already split it in months so that you can easily compute on a monthly and quarterly basis. But yes, we give you the flexibility to edit it directly within the reports. So it's really editing. So it changed that amount on that monthly or quarterly basis, which is also a monthly basis. That's the reason why if we switch back to annually, everything is recomputed because yes, you change the budget. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you want to have your budget, your previous budget, and have another budget, it's better to create a new budget so that you can compare and not changing the existing one.
Can a balance account be denominated into two currencies simultaneously?
No. If you want that, you need to use the consolidation feature. So that means that, I don't know what's behind the question, but that means that you want to report it maybe in two different currencies. If you want to use the currency, the only way to do it is to switch from one entity to another. So it might be a workaround to create, let's say, a dollar company, a euro company, just consolidate both together, and because you have local, because you have the currency on the other one, it will translate. So it works, but you need to create a secondary company for that if you want.
Okay. Can you add validation or limit financial budget changes?
Can you repeat again?
Can you add a validation or an approval maybe on financial budget changes?
Not on the financial budget changes. If you have access to the report, you can change the financial budget. However, you can do it on the analytic budgets. I'm not sure if Fabien showed this morning, but I think so. Otherwise, there is another talk about it. Thanks to the new studio approvals, you can make sure that budgets are validated. So for example, if you exceed budget, you can ask an approval yes or no, because we offer all the flexibilities of all conditions to set studio approval workflows. So for analytic budget, yes. Financial budget, no.
Right. I'm not sure it makes sense, but still, I'm going to ask: why don't we have the sale order matching with the customer invoices? So we have it with the POs and vendor bills. Why don't we have it with the sale orders and invoices?
It's a choice.
Yeah, but I mean, normally you go through your sale order and you create your invoice through your sale order, so you already have a direct link between those.
I think the question was also about the budget, I think.
Ah, okay, the budget, yeah.
But there is no budget on sale orders, and it's a choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only for purchase orders.
is in Odoo 18, how would you manage having a payment discount due date? So basically, when you don't have the same due date for the discount and the due date itself.
With the cash discount. So you can set on the payment terms, you can add cash discounts. And thanks to the new feature that we've shown in order to manage your payments, single or in batch, well, basically what's new is that we calculate a new next amount due. It's the same for installments or cash discounts. So it's all on the payment terms. And basically what we do is that you can switch between the total outstanding amount or the next amount due. And so you might have one or multiple installments that are due, or you have a cash discount that might be due in order to use it. That's how it works. So there is a new field, a new computed field, that will calculate what's the new amount due. Based upon that, the feature works.
Okay. The loans function seems good. That's a nice compliment. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about not fixed interest? I think we had a question, a similar one. How it changes if they change every 6 months, for example.
We don't manage it because we cannot adapt in real time, taking into consideration these. So the only way to do is upload every 12 months. But indeed, it's the same answer.
Yeah. All right, I have a question here. It's not very elaborated, but can you please explain the QR code again?
Yeah,
QR code again.
on the invoice again,
Okay.
I guess. So on the QR code, when you activate the QR code, you will have a link with your bank account, and when you're with the banking app, well, it's something in Belgium. You can open a banking app.
Not only in Belgium, I think, but
In Europe,
I think so.
you can scan the QR code and you can directly pay your invoice through your banking app, basically.
yeah, and the same exists on the portal as well. So it's the option to print it directly on the bill. So it's in order to get paid faster, I would say. Your customers receive the bill, they can easily scan the QR code and it's paid.
Okay. If I only have one company, how do I see my accounting reports in different currencies?
I think it's the same question as before. If you don't create another company, it's not possible. So you need to create a secondary company, which you declare in dollars or in whatever. And you don't need to create any entry in there. Just keep the entries in your single first company, but just by consolidating both together and having the consolidation on the second one, it will translate in currency.
Would it be a use of the loan feature to use for the money we lend to other companies?
Yeah, I thought this question would arrive as well. It's not the purpose of the feature today. So no, it's not covered. Maybe someday in the future, but at least not for the moment, no.
I'm not sure you have...
But if you're a partner or whatever, you can use the methodology for the actual loans to do it, let's say, on the other way around, but it's not covered by Odoo standards.
Okay, I wouldn't have thought of it. I wouldn't ask this question, but there is a compliment in it. It's a great job thanks to the financial team. When is SEPA automatically sent to a bank become possible?
It's already possible, but let me explain a little bit. So I think it's already in Odoo 18 that we offer the possibility to create now batches that can be sent directly to the bank. But we use Ponto behind the scenes, where we don't do it ourselves. Of course, it's one of our providers behind the scenes. So you can create a batch and send it out directly if you have a contract with Ponto. But that means that basically what will happen in Odoo is that we will redirect you with the batch to their screen, and there you will validate it. So basically, that's how it works. So it's possible. Not yet directly within Odoo. It's not only a screen in Odoo, but we will make it possible to send a batch without exporting it and changing the XML by using Ponto to do it. Maybe we will add others, but if I'm not wrong, Ponto is the only one that offers the possibility to send batches through PSD2 technology. Our other providers don't, and they only offer single payments. And for us, it was less interesting to apply it already right now on individual payments because we expect people more to use the batches. So long story short, it's already existing in Odoo 18, it's a new feature, but we use Ponto behind the scenes, and you need to have a contract with them because there is a cost with them to send the batches. But the possibility exists.
All right. Which exchange rate is used in the report when you change the company? The current day's rate, or will each transaction use the rate for the day it was posted?
Like I said, P&L accounts will have the average rate. For equity accounts, the historical rate, and for the other ones, the closing rate.
And so it's daily, yeah?
Yeah, and it's daily. Yeah, it depends on
On transaction level.
Yeah, on transaction level. It depends on what you have synchronized, of course, with your average rates, with your currency rates.
A question about upgrade now. How will we manage the transition from account, well, the chart of account from Odoo 17 to Odoo 18?
Yeah, like I said, we're not going to lie about it. If you will switch and you want to use the consolidation, you will have some work in order to merge existing accounts together. Otherwise, nothing will change. You can still use it like that, but then you will not take advantage of the new consolidation because it will not be on a unified chart account. So you will need to use the merge feature that we've shown in order to merge existing accounts across different companies and merge them together so it becomes a single account because that's the power behind the consolidation. But you will have some work to merge them. It's not out of the box.
Can we report based on account tags?
I guess it's someone from the Netherlands that is asking it. Well, I'm glad you asked because yes, it's back. Actually, it was already before, but now it's back. It's already merged in Odoo 18, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is. So for the Dutch localization, you can now switch. You will see if you upgrade or if you use database in Odoo 18 with Dutch localization, you can switch within the report using our own mapping based upon accounts or switch on tags. But we use the tags that are existing, so the operating, financing, etc., etc. But yes, it happens, but for Dutch localization. Not sure if it's necessary in other countries, but otherwise feel free to come by. But I think it's only for Dutch localization. So Netherlands. Dutch.
I think you have showed it maybe in the morning, but is there any new feature on the approval process of supplier invoices?
Yes, and it's big. I really love it. I have not shown it this morning, but I'm really a big fan of it. There are some great progression on studio approvals. I would suggest you test it, or if I don't know if there's the talk of it. I guess so.
I think there is.
I think, I hope so, because it's a great new improvement. Validation, revoking, delegating, everything is now standard in Odoo Studio approval. So yes, big changes. So yes, it's possible.
And I'm trying to find some questions
I'm sure
I haven't.
there is a talk about studio approval, so just look it up in the agenda, you will find it.
How are prices different? Maybe I have gone through that question already. How are prices different computed with the new PO matching tool? Price difference in the new matching tool?
Nothing especially recomputed. Huh? It's more that from the actually what we offer in the reconciliation screen is something that already existed. If you go on the purchase order, you can change the amount. What is new that you can do it directly from the reconciliation screen instead of opening again elsewhere the purchase order. You can directly do it over there. So it's the same principle as before, just that you can do it quickly without leaving the screen.
Okay. Trying to find a question I haven't been through yet. For the CC OCR.
For the what?
Credit card, yeah.
How does it deal with foreign currency amounts on the CC statement?
I think I've not tested it, to be honest, but what I would believe is that basically it takes the currency from your journal. So if you set the currency in dollar on the credit card journal, we just read the transactions. So if you set it on dollar or in pound or whatever, we read the amount of the transactions, but the currency comes from the setup of the journal itself. I think, but I'm pretty sure. Qu'est-ce que t'en penses?
I think the same. All right, I think we're reaching the end. Let me see if I have another question I could quickly cover with you. You can have a look with me as well.
No, you're the boss man.
Can you still send an electronic invoices without PayPal?
Yeah, of course. You can still do it by mail, like you've shown. But yes, you can still do it by mail as well.
Actually, you choose your sending method, but by mail, you can still choose an e-invoice format. So it's not you choose PayPal and you have to choose an e-invoice, but you can still send it by mail.
Yes, but what's new, it's good that you say, because I forgot to mention something. What is new is that, what is new than today, is that you don't have the option to use multiple sending methods. We now force one single one. Or you use PayPal, or you use mail, not both simultaneous.
And maybe a last one then. How the financial budget will be used with analytic budgets?
Not. It's two separate budgets. Doesn't work. But maybe to yes, I understand the question. What if you need to follow up on financial accounts within analytic budget? So what you should do is to create a new analytic plan, which is financial plan, and create your account groups from before. Create personal costs, direct costs, indirect costs, financial costs, I don't know. And with the new, because there are some great enhancements, we have not shown it, but there are some great enhancements in the default rules for analytic plans, where you can set a combination of one or multiple accounts that will default the right analytic account. And so that's how you should use it for, yeah, 1 second. So that's how you should do it. You need to create your account groups as an analytic account in a new plan and make sure that your default rules will fill them in.
Yeah.
I think we have to
Default
stop.
rules or analytic distribution models.
Yes. But I think we need to stop.
We need to stop.
Feel free to come by. We remain here for a while. But thank you very much for being with us and enjoy Odoo Experience.
Yeah. Thanks, Renan. Thanks, Robin.
Thanks, everyone.